Hi, I'm Chef Gwen Model. Today we're going to be making sesame ramen salad. All the ingredients here, very simple and a very quick recipe to make, 30 minutes, and it's pretty healthy for you too. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the dressing, and we've got soy sauce. You probably won't have a large container like this in your pantry, but soy sauce is great. Okay, so first, quarter cup soy sauce. Oh, sorry. All right. Then we've got 2 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil. Now this is a larger one that we get at Gordon's, but they do sell the smaller bottles. And this one is not toasted, but there is a little bit difference in taste. So I'm gonna go with the toasted, gives it more of a nutty flavor. We've got 2 tablespoons of this. 2, all right. And 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. We all should have this in our pantry as well. All right. Then we've got a quarter cup of olive oil. It's not a cup. All right. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. Sugar always does that, doesn't it? It's okay if we have a little bit more in there. I'm going to try to pour it since I have stuck in the spoon. All right, perfect. Okay, and then we're just going to give this a stir. I believe the instructions say to whisk it, but if you don't have a whisk handy, you've got to just use your measuring spoon, right? Okay. We'll stir that up a little bit more so it's more combined when we get to use it later in the recipe. So I'll set that to the side for now. So we have all of our vegetables here in front of us. Next step, we're going to go ahead and get our ramen noodles soaking. I like to break them in 2 different places. It's easier, and then that way you don't have to break them when they're out of the package. Dump them in there. Don't forget to remove your seasoning packet. And then the recipe says 6 cups of hot water. Depending on what size bowl that you have it in, you just basically want to cover the noodles so that they absorb that liquid. And it doesn't have to be boiling. It can just be hot tap water, so let me grab that. Okay, so now we have our noodles soaking. We're gonna let that do its magic while we chop up our veggies. Start with 3/4 cup of sliced green onions. So all of our veggies were washed off previously, and go through in any ends or any part that is brown or not good. I just go ahead and give them a little tear off. Green onions, I think, are another underutilized vegetable in the home. They just add a nice mild oniony flavor. Now everybody cuts their green onions different, and that's totally fine. Make it your own, right? So I like to keep the bottoms on because I end up holding onto them. A lot of people like to chop them off and go, but make it your own. Do it your way. Just get them all even. Hold them tightly together. And I actually will cut off this other top part here. We're having a nice firm grip. Careful to keep your fingers out of the way. You don't have to try to go as fast as you may think I'm going, but I've been doing this for kind of a little bit. And feel free to pause, readjust your hands. See how I'm sliding the onions, getting everything back in front of me. Okay, we're gonna get these to the side. Then we have 1/4 cup of fresh cilantro. Now I know there's a big controversy over cilantro. Some people say it tastes like soap. And I'm gonna be honest, I was one of those people. I never liked it. but I don't know. And I do believe that tastes change over time. So I do enjoy cilantro now. And if you don't like it, leave it out of the recipe. Make it your own, right? And with cilantro, you can absolutely eat all of it, stem and all. So I just keep it in a bunch. I'm actually gonna bunch it up a little bit more so it's more manageable. And then just start with small chops, walking your fingers backwards. You can also take the leaves off of the stems if you prefer, but I like to use the whole vegetable if I can. But I will, when I get to the bigger stems, I do not use those. I'm gonna gather it back together best you can. I'm gonna do the same motion, same cutting style. Leaves like to try to escape sometimes, but gather them again. All right, that looks good. Next we have half teaspoon grated lime zest and 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Not sure that I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of lime juice out of this. So geared on the size of the lime. Lime juice backup is okay to use as well. So we're going to start again. Everything has been washed. So to get those inner seeds opened up and easier to juice, give it a good roll so it's nice and squishy, right? And so the first thing I'm going to do is zest. After we have it all nice and smushy, then we're going to go ahead and zest. So you can buy these at any store, if not to throw out names, but Myers, Walmart, whatever, they have them. Zester, microplane, or a couple different names. So you're going to want to make sure you keep your fingers out of the way on this one because it will bite your skin. And so kind of holding on like this, so you need a firm grip. And you don't want to go deep because then the inner part here gets kind of sour. And I don't know if you can see, but I do have some zest here coming off. So we're going to just roll it around, keeping that firm grip on it. And then when you're ready, that's in there, just dump it out like that. Again, you don't want to run your fingers or your hand across that because it will bite you. Now from here, you got your 2 ones, you want to cut down the middle of those. And since limes don't generally have seeds, I like to look anyways, but give her a good squeeze. Oh, that squirted me. So a couple different techniques I've seen. Like one, they take a spoon and then smush it out, the juice out like that. I like to get my fingers in there. So that was not a lot of juice in that one. So we are going to use some of that lime juice. Let's get back here. 2 tablespoons. So yeah, we weren't even close. Okay, that's going to be real close to 2 tablespoons. Okay, snow peas. If you've never worked with them or had them, they're amazing. Nice, fresh, and crisp. If you don't know how to clean them, I'm going to give you a little tidbit. So there's a vein that goes on like the top side. You can see like where the seeds are. That's the top. You want to just break one little corner and then you'll peel it. I didn't very well. That. Okay, so some are more prominent than others as far as the veins, but you want to get those off of there because it will it will be chewy, like celery, how it has those veins in there and stuff, and so you want to get those out. These are actually really pretty good. I may not need to do that, but I still want to cut the ends off, or not cut, I'm sorry, tear. There was a little bit more of one. Okay, so another way, if you don't mind having the veins in there, like with the celery, another thing you could do is get them and line them up. Knife, I would suggest to use a paring knife, not a big chef knife like this one, because I'm just used to using this and I like it. Paring knife would be safer for those not with a lot of experience with using knives all the time. Get the ends lined up as you can. And then we're just going to take them and cut them in half diagonally. This will make it more friendlier to eat, if you will, instead of having trying to get a big bite of this in part of your salad. 1 cup julienne carrot. So budget friendly, you want to get the whole carrots, and then either have if you have a grater, that's great. The recipe does say julienne. That's just very thin strips. It's kind of difficult if you haven't had experience with it. So we just grated it today. And you can also buy the shredded, already pre-shredded, if you don't have one and just want to make it easier on yourself, quicker. But definitely whole carrots, more budget friendly. Recipe does say dry roasted peanuts. That's optional if you have allergies or whoever you're feeding may have allergies. Then you absolutely leave it out. And I always say with all my recipes that make it your own. So if there's something that you don't like, if for some reason you don't like carrots, then just don't put them in there. But this is a nice, healthy salad we got going on here. And again, the recipe says 4 tablespoons of chopped dry roasted peanuts. Honestly, you could put in whatever kind of nut you would like, but the peanuts goes more with this sesame ramen Asian kind of style of a recipe, sorry. So we have this big bag. I'm just going to reach in here. So divided means you're going to use some in the recipe and then you're going to use some for garnish. So I'm just going to use my hand measuring spoon. So 2 tablespoons there. All right, so that's good. I'm going to get our dressing. Okay, so if you don't have a whisk at your house, just use a fork, okay? You want to get in there, get everything emulsified, which means blended together. Make sure that sugar is dissolved. I still hear a little bit of it in the bottom of the bowl. And you can tell when it gets emulsified. You'll know when, because in the oil, I have some right here that's a little bit separated, so I'm just going to keep on stirring a little bit more. Usually about a minute, 2 minutes. So, I'm not sure if you can see, maybe able to see when I pour it. So this is nice and mixed together, emulsified. So from here, you know what? No, I want to strain these noodles. Now, you wouldn't think ramen noodles would cook just from hot sink water, but they do. They're done actually. So the time it took us to get the vegetables ready, then your noodles are ready as well. So I'm going to strain these real quick. Okay, so we've got our noodles strained, our ramen noodles. They're perfect. Perfect. Then we're going to add all of our veggies that we had prepared. Going to mix them right in. And since this sat for just a little bit while I was draining the noodles, I'm still going to give it one more little whisk here. And then we pour it right on. And give her a little mix. And your salad is done. Just that easy. Didn't even have to turn on the stove on a hot summer day, which is coming soon. So, yeah, so here we are, finished product. For serving, I did skip one step. Okay. So with the green onion, when we chopped it earlier, we have extra, but that's fine. So we're just going to, and this again is just like with the nuts where it said divided. It's the second divided part is just for the garnish. And if you want to get fancy with your green onions, make them look really cool, cut them at an angle. It just gives them a little bit more fancy look. And again, super simple, has healthy, fresh vegetables in it. And this serves, this is only half of what I have in the bowl. And it is still a very healthy serving. And again, garnish, 2 green onions. And some peanuts. And this is it. Sesame ramen salad.